Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is a new series for our associates focused on uplifting voices for people in the tech industry who might not be in a position to share their stories as widely as the team at IO Associates can do to help them. So today, I'm really excited. I'll let her introduce herself. It's my mum.
Hi, I'm Carol Robinson. I'm a former primary school teacher of nearly 25 years, but I'm now a data analyst in the banking industry.
Exciting. Very exciting. Um, so I guess before we get into the tech side, can you share a little bit about your experience on the education side and what made you even consider making a move into the tech industry?
I wanted to look around for something that would give me a little bit more space to do things I was interested in, not just work all the time.
Yeah. You were my teacher once, weren't you? Math. It didn't work out very well. I am still very bad at it. But I do remember at school you were always the IT lady. You were always fixing the computers, going around. I think mostly just turning them on and off. But do you think from back then were you interested in tech but just didn't know how to get there?
Absolutely. So I had many jobs in IT. I was on IT kind of discovery teams in a couple schools. Um, then I decided that I wanted to be the IT coordinator, so I did a little bit of sort of training for myself. As you said, it mainly was going around helping other teachers, but also I was in charge of the curriculum, and so I got to know a little bit about the different areas of IT. When I wanted to change career, I had a friend whose daughter said, "Carol, you're always fixing my parents' tech." But I think that you'd be kind of good. You should look at coding. So I went to the Women's Tech Hub here in Bristol.
Cool.
Had some conversations with them. They asked me kind of my background. They did a little bit of work with me with a recruiter that they have, and she kind of decided the data analyst role would be something that would be good for me.
Cool. So for everyone who doesn't know, what is it mainly that the Women's Tech Hub do?
So they do quite a lot of classes. So they have one night a week where you can go and work on your own projects, or they have each term they have their own classes for Python or just data in general, lots of different things. But they also have girl geek dinners and things like that where women in tech can get together and have conversations.
Nice. I like how you say Python. Yes, Curry. I haven't picked up that American accent. Um, cool. So you went to these classes and you did a bit of learning, but where else did you try to pick up skills? What other training or courses did you do?
So before I got a job, I didn't do anything else besides that. So I was actually trying to learn Python first. But then when they said about data analysts, I kind of switched to SQL and decided that might be somewhere. Just went online, found a course, and was trying to do that. And then by that time, I was kind of moving into my first role.
Now that we're here, how did you get your first role?
So I asked my daughter, this one, who works in recruiting, if she knew of any jobs. And at first, she was hesitant to help me.
It was my first year of recruitment. And I don't think I'd done a placement yet myself. And we do usually deal with senior level appointments. So my mum was like, I've been doing SQL online. Can I get a job? And I was like, I don't think I can do that.
But but then, so I left it for a few months, and then I just happened to ask you, and IO had happened to have a job that was for entry-level data analyst. The experience wasn't important. I applied, and a telephone interview at first with the line manager. That went well, and so then I was asked to come in with the interviewing panel, and I got the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember being quite cheeky and listening into the interview feedback call that they had. And what I think was quite important was they had three people and they hired, was it two or three?
Too.
Yeah. And the two other people were just leaving university. And it was a entry-level role to learn about data analysis, and they were fully supported and trained. But it was a graduate level role. And we put you forward for it because why not? Because even though it says graduate, it doesn't necessarily mean graduate young doesn't mean graduate just at computer science. It just means that it's a role level that you can do. You're just transitory.
Yeah, and I feel like I had done an MSc in a different area than education. I had done sociology MSc about 3 years before that, and had been successful in that. So I knew I had to rise to the challenge of and the experience. So the confidence was there for that, and the fact that everybody gave me the training helped me just kind of go for.
Cool. And what did you get in your OSC?
Yes, with honors, so with distinction.
It's really good. Yeah, so it was really no challenge, was it? Entry-level data analyst after that. Cool, that's really exciting. How did you find the experience of learning a new role?
So when I actually at my leaving party, I told my line manager a story, and they had literally no idea that this had happened. But my second day there, I was sitting in the office thinking, I have made a horrible mistake. Like, I am not going to be able to do this at all. What was I thinking? And obviously, I stuck with it and I stayed there. And we had I started in November 2019. We had the opportunity, if you wanted to, about once every 2 to 3 weeks, if we wanted to work at home one day, we could. And the colleague who'd started a couple weeks before me, in the February, beginning of March, said, I think I'm ready to work from home a day a week. And I was like, I am in no way ready to work at home. But of course, a couple weeks later, I was working from home.
Yeah, COVID. Wasn't COVID. Yeah. How did you find getting training and support virtually versus in person?
So a lot of the job is kind of Googling as a funny meme I found about, oh, I didn't know how to do my job, so I just Googled it, and that does happen. I did find when I was in the office especially for those early days, just having someone come over for 5 minutes and say, "Oh, you do it like this," was great. The main problem with pandemic was I was working for a bus company, and of course, bus use went down by over 90%. So it's very hard to do a data analyst role when there's no data.
Yeah.
So my job kind of pivoted a little bit into other things. For me, they weren't as interesting. I didn't enjoy it as much, so I decided to look for another role.
How did you find looking for a second role?
That was fine. I got a job fairly quickly.
That-
I actually was offered 2 jobs
Really?
from
I didn't know that.
yeah.
You didn't
I,
use us, did you?
I did not. In
I
that
don't think
case,
you told me you were leaving.
though, in that case, I did not use IO, but I had interviews at it was the same company, but 2 different kind of branches of it. Um, and I went for the one that seemed to have a better development plan for me. Again, I kind of got in there. The development plan didn't materialize as I would have liked. Another person had kind of got hired a couple months later, and I felt like what he was receiving just was helping him grow, and what I was receiving and the thing I was working on, I wasn't getting that growth. So then again, I decided to change job, mentioned it to you, and you mentioned the job I currently have now,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Good. I want to go back a bit. So you said that you were getting different, was it different work or different support? What do you think the difference was in the development?
So I feel like they didn't really have as much of a plan for me as they had promised. So I was kind of just thrown into ad hoc things, and the very first thing I was thrown into was using skills far beyond what I was ready for. I did not have the skills, and it was a super link between what I was doing and what this project needed. I felt like my colleague, he was put on something that was a gentle start, and then his next project actually was built on the first thing he had done. So he used those skills to do his next one, and then his next project built on the first two. So I felt like he had this kind of steady accumulation of skills that helped him grow. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know really. I think a lot of it was just timing, but I do sometimes wonder if he was young, and I just wonder if they weren't sure what to do with me.
Yeah, because yeah, you never want to say it, and you never want to talk badly about managers or their plan for you. But if someone young comes in with maybe just our university, maybe a couple years experience, he's given or they are given a very steady structure to get from A to B, whereas you were just given random stuff that might not have aligned to your skills either.
Right.
It must be difficult.
Yeah. It, I I just felt like I didn't need to stay there.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't have been confident to do that before, but what I have found is that people now move jobs quite often.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to stick there for any reason if it wasn't getting me what I needed.
Um. So okay, when you were going through all of these processes, were there ever, aside from that, any moments where you felt like age or experience was a barrier?
I didn't feel like that. I think now looking back, there are a couple people I think just kind of things they said. I think it was a kind of reflection of my age, maybe thinking that I wasn't learning fast enough or doing things well enough. Um, I actually, in my current role, there was a situation where there was an ageist comment by someone in a meeting, but that was addressed by the company with that person. But yeah, I think it's there. It's just sometimes people I don't think realize they are making little comments that might be hurtful.
Yeah. No, I think it's very true. We had an event recently and we went through the experience of all women in tech, and at the end, I think 2 or 3 men said, "I've said that before, and I didn't even realize that was wrong." Um, for everyone watching, do you have an example of something you said?
Well, in this meeting, the person was I was running the meeting. It was kind of a fraught meeting because you had introduced a new ways of working for the data team, and a lot of people were upset just because of the changes and things like that. So this person, when I kind of was trying to find out more information about the project and the task that they wanted done, she she just I can't remember exactly the words, but it is this the word at the end was love, and it was just like essentially, "Oh, don't worry yourself about that love." Uh, and it was, and I had to make a decision. I think normally I would have called it out, but because that meeting was so fraught as it was, I thought this is not the time place to do that. Is it a big deal? And then upon reflection overnight, I decided it was a big deal. So I contacted my um not my line manager, but the one above. And interestingly, her boss in the in his notes about the meeting had mentioned that comment. So that was a sign to me that, oh, actually, yes, this is a big deal, and I do need to take it further. If other people are noticing that this is happening.
Yeah. I think sometimes confirmation is key, isn't it? When you feel uncomfortable with the situation, am I reacting to this in the appropriate way? But I think no matter what, if you are feeling uncomfortable.
Yes, that the fact that it was noticeable and uncomfortable that in that situation, what do you do?
Yeah, so when someone is experiencing something that they feel uncomfortable with, no matter if you're getting it was about your gender or sexual orientation, socioeconomic background, anything, if you feel uncomfortable, there's often a reason why. So I think like you did is reflect on it and you can go to someone who is a mentor if you want to talk about it further.
Definitely. I feel like my age and my experience worked to my advantage there because I think if I was able to take that step back and think, is this a good time to do that? And you know me, I will speak up about injustice and things like that if I'm not happy with something.
But at
But
a restaurant, you won't serve back food.
at a restaurant, I will not send back food.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I felt like yeah, this needs some reflection. Let's wait and see. And I think the difficult thing is for people that don't want to challenge sometimes because they feel like, oh, I am older. Is this going to put my job in jeopardy? What am I going to do next? So, yeah, I think it's a difficult situation, but you have to be true to yourself, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And reach out to people around you
Mhm.
who prevent for doing so. Um, on to slightly more positive topics. Was there a moment during any of these roles where you were just like, aha, this is actually the career for me and I've made the right decision?
I think that every day.
Really?
I literally think that every day. Um, and there's two parts to this. One is the actual work. It's interesting. It's different. It's problem solving. I don't do the same thing every day. So like teaching, that was the exciting thing about teaching is you just, wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm going to spend 8 hours doing the same thing. Which, both of us have ADHD. So being in a position where you can have some flexibility and some variation is useful. The second side was because of the long hours teaching and the kind of lack of work-life balance. I just love the fact that I can get to my end of my day, close my laptop, and that's it. And I will, like, if I'm working on a big project and there's a deadline or things, I will work later, but I know with confidence, my managers will let me make that time up somewhere else. It's not, that time's not gone. I can take that back somewhere else. And I've developed new hobbies and I've been able to spend more time with friends and family. And that is invaluable.
Yeah. Time.
Time.
Got your time back.
Got my time back.
Good. Good. Um, we mentioned earlier about how there were some moments where you were like, oh, I made the wrong decision here. How did you get through that and how did you stick it out? Because it sounds like now you're loving every day.
That's a very good question.
It's not on the list either.
I guess I had to trust. I had to trust that I had made the right decision and trust that I could get through a difficult situation. And like I said, I've been through a few, so I know I'd done it before. I was helpful with my managers and my colleagues. They were very supportive. I think that's invaluable as well. If you don't feel like you have people around you who can help you grow, um, I think, and I know I hadn't told my line manager at the time. He only found out a couple years later when I left. Uh, I think if that feeling had gone on, I would have been very comfortable going to him and saying, "Look, I'm really struggling. I don't know if I made the right decision here." Because you don't, in a new career, you don't know how well you're doing. Am I smashing this? Am I not smashing this? Like,
Think that
because
every single day.
you don't know what you don't know. So yeah, I think it's trust yourself to do it, but if it's going on for a long time, then seek out help.
Most of your managers have been younger than you.
All of my managers been
All of your managers have been younger than you. What's your advice to managers who are managing someone who is older?
I think give people a chance. I think there's going to be some life experience and work experience and skills that they have that young people just they can't have because they haven't lived it. But I think also is maybe just get to know them. So for me, example with menopause, that was a huge thing that kind of came in about the same time I changed careers. I don't do things by halves. And I was able to talk to all my line managers and say that there are going to be some symptoms. I'm managing them, but there are things that that you need to know as a manager of a woman in a certain age. And so again, being open, being confident to have those conversations. And I feel like if they can't have those conversations, then that is training they need to do.
Yeah. Because your company has a group for economic men.
Actually, everywhere I've worked has had that. That's really good. Yeah.
Do you think, are those groups open to all to learn?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes. So actually, at all three, we've had men and women there, and men managers who
Yeah.
just wanted to be able to like help the people on their team. Um, men who were working with women who were menopausal. So I think it could do with more kind of advertisement,
Yeah.
so to speak. But yeah, and I guess there might be other things as well that are age related that people might need. But I guess that's the same with anyone who's neurodivergent or whatever. It's having those open, honest conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like because your manager created a supportive environment, you were able to go to them.
Yes.
But it's important for managers to be able to get that and provide that safe space.
Yes. And I would think that most organizations, big organizations especially, would have some kind of training on that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mhm.
Um, what advice would you give to other people who were sitting there watching this going, I would like to switch into tech for any age?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, go for it. I guess it can go horribly wrong. It can go horribly wrong, but it's probably not unfixable, either in your new role or going back to what you were doing until you feel ready, maybe to try it again. But yeah, I think the fact that I had those 2 days where I was thinking, what have I done, are important because I think it's important that other people know that I had that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like all unicorns and rainbows from the start.
You are a very unicorns and rainbows personally. So for her to say that that's big.
Yeah. Um, and I think that if I can do it, I'm not I'm not super special or anything like that. I think it's knowing what to look for in terms of training. So seek out in your towns, is there a tech group of some kind that can give you that kind of initial advice? Look at training online. There's all kinds of different places that give like kind of, oh, this course is like 200 pounds, but we're going to give it to you for 10 pounds, or things like that.
Nice to know.
Yeah. Um, I would say even talk to recruiting agencies, especially IO. Because again, you and one of your colleagues gave me really good advice about things to look for and things to read, or maybe, oh, have you look at these skills? I think the other thing, and this we may have talked about this in some of your other series, when women look at a job description, I think especially in tech, and there's say 10 or 15 things, if they don't match all 10 or 15 of those things, they don't apply for the job. And I was very fortunate with that first job I had, first company, my line manager, when I was kind of saying, oh, I don't fit that. He was like, oh, don't worry about that. Like, if you get about 60% of the stuff, like, just apply for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the most important messages as a woman applying for tech jobs I can give, that I learned. Um, you know, just, and if there is a big gap and there is a path you want to take, go train yourself in it, because there are lots of different opportunities out there to do that.
Yeah. I hear or I read that men look at job descriptions as, yeah, I have the basic capability and my skills could eventually get to the point where I can do that. Women look at it and go, I've not done that before. And so changing your mindset as I can do that rather than I haven't done that is really, really powerful when looking at jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good advice.
You're welcome. I also would say that men always go over the salary they expect so that they can land somewhere where they need to be. And women often will go slightly cheaper so that they can get a chance to get the role. So if you're looking at another job at any time soon, which I don't think you are, because you love it, I love it, go high, aim high, see
Aim
what
high.
happens.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is to, yeah, we can tend to undervalue ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that comes sometimes because we are undervalued and we get that message. And that over years, I think that kind of sinks in to your DNA a little bit, doesn't it? And I think just for young women out there, don't undervalue yourself and don't let anyone else do that. So, yeah.
overvalue. Do it then. Oh, that's fine. I'll just it. I think the last one I want to ask is, what would you say to anyone who feels like it's too late for them to try something new, try a new career?
Well, I was 51 when I was 51 when I changed career. So I was 49, 50 when I got my MSc, 51 when I changed my career. Um, I think there are people who do it even older than that, for things. So, and I think in this day and age too, like there isn't. It seemed before that people of a certain age, it was like, oh, you're pretty much done. Whereas now, I don't think that like whatever 50's the new 40 or whatever, those kinds of things that people say. I think that's true, and I think the other thing to do is keep yourself up to date. So earlier this year, my goals, I decided I wanted to focus on AI, learning more about AI and the use of AI. And just coincidentally, my bank has made a big announcement about use of AI and things like that. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm ahead of the game here. And I think that's important, is try to look down the road a little bit, like what might be coming, what can you upskill on to make sure that you're future proofing yourself a little bit.
Nice. I really thought of you.
I like thought of you.
Stop it. Yeah, I think it's been the best thing you could have done. You were wearing yourself thin in teaching, and you found something new, tried it, and now you're almost senior data analyst.
I am. I am. I'm approaching.
Approaching senior.
It's approaching senior.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's. I don't think I could. I don't think I can say strongly enough to anyone, just have a go.
Well,
I mean, I guess I was fortunate. I could have gone back to teaching, relatively easy. I don't know what people are coming from, but I can't imagine there's any job where if you leave it, they're like, nope, that's it.
no, no, I can't imagine either. Have a go.
Have a go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Cool. So yeah, there'll be loads more interviews coming out over the next few weeks, all covering different topics, different backgrounds, all centered around uplifting voices for people who might not have the chance to share their stories.